Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Sunday, February 1st, 2026. And before we get into the mountain of reports on the desk today, I want to ask you a question.
Oh,
A question about your thumb.
my thumb.
Your thumb, yeah. Specifically, the muscle memory in your right thumb. Do you remember the doom scroll?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That era back in, 2023, maybe 2024? We would just sit there, sort of glossy-eyed, brain mostly offline, just swiping up and up and up.
Letting the algorithm just wash over you.
Exactly. Like a warm bath of, I don't know, nothingness.
I think we all remember it. It was the era of passive consumption. It felt like we were just, data points waiting to be harvested.
Well, according to this massive stack of research we have in front of us today, that era is officially over.
Done.
We have entered a phase that the data is calling irreplaceable instinct. And honestly, the picture it paints of 2026 is.
Yeah.
It's just unrecognizable compared to even 2 years ago.
It really is. I mean, we aren't just looking at social media as an entertainment utility anymore today. We are really analyzing the maturation of social commerce.
Right.
And I don't just mean, buying things on the internet. We're talking about a fundamental rewiring of how we search for truth, how we process trust, and the whole psychological machine that fires off in our brains before we click buy.
And here's the conflict that really grabbed me when I was going through all this prep material.
Okay.
We have this massive cultural shift toward what they're calling reality, people craving this raw, unfiltered, messy human connection. But then we have this 2025 academic study right here in the stack that suggests when it comes down to the actual moment of spending money, we trust a cold, hard robot more than a human being.
That is the central tension of this whole deep dive, isn't it? It's the battle between man and machine. We have a study here from the Journal of Electronic Commerce Research, specifically the Wang et al. Paper from 2025. And it just challenges the absolute golden rule of marketing.
The one we've all been told forever.
For decades, we've always been told people buy from people.
Right. Social proof. That's the whole game.
Exactly. But the study suggests that might actually be a legacy belief, a kind of outdated idea. So we're going to look at that, and then we're going to contrast it with this fascinating case study out of Indonesia on live streaming that, shows the exact opposite.
And then we've got the TikTok Next 2026 trend report that sort of tries to bridge that gap.
It does.
So the mission today is to unpack how platforms like TikTok have evolved from, dance apps into these full-blown search engines and e-commerce giants. And to resolve this conflict, who is actually controlling our wallets in 2026? Is it the influencer with the perfect lighting, or is it the algorithm with the perfect data?
I think to start, we have to set the landscape. We need to define the arena we're talking about. Bazaar Voice, in one of their guides, defines this space as community commerce.
Which, in plain English, is basically word-of-mouth marketing, but driven by creators.
Essentially, yeah. But looking at the numbers, even just looking back a couple of years, the scale it's just staggering. I mean, back in 2023, 2024, consumers were already spending $6.2 billion on TikTok alone.
Wow.
But the evolution isn't just about the volume of money. It's about the psychology of the spend. It's no longer just that hashtag, hashtag TikTok made me buy it.
Yeah, that feels very vintage now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That was all about impulse. Like, I saw the leggings, I bought the leggings.
Exactly. That was the doom scroll economy. Now, looking at these reports from Momentum Digital and Shuren, we're talking about concepts like emotional ROI.
And the evidence economy.
The evidence economy. I love that term. The consumer in 2026 isn't just impulsive, they're investigative.
Which leads us perfectly into our first major section here.
Yeah.
The technical and behavioral shift. I mean, we have to talk about the death of Googling things.
This is a huge shift, and it's one that Momentum Digital and GRAN have been tracking really closely. For Gen Z and millennials, and now, increasingly Gen X, TikTok isn't just for fun anymore. It has become a primary search engine.
I feel this in my own life. I really do. If I need to figure out how to, file my taxes, or I'm trying to find a good dim sum spot here in Toronto, I am not reading a blog post anymore. I'm definitely not going to the second page of Google results.
No one goes there.
No, I'm searching on video platforms first.
Well, why do you think that is? I mean, is it just about our shrinking attention spans?
I used to think it was. I used to think, oh, I'm just lazy. But after reading the Momentum report, I think it's about density.
Density and authenticity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Momentum points out that traditional search results have been well, they've been gamed for years.
Right.
You click a link for a recipe and you get a 2,000-word SEO-optimized essay about the author's childhood autumns in Vermont before you even see the ingredients list. It feels sterile. It feels manufactured.
It feels like a content farm wrote it, not a person.
Exactly. Whereas video results give you this unpolished truth. This is the visual first aspect they talk about. You see the steam coming off the actual dim sum. You see the real frustration on the person's face when they're talking about the tax forms. It's visual proof versus just a text-based promise.
Jerian calls this snackable content, which is a term I kind of hate, but I get it. I think a better term is verifiable content.
I like that.
But what I found fascinating in the Momentum Digital report is how this changes things on the back end, the SEO of it all. Because I always assumed searching a video app was just, I don't know, matching hashtags in the caption. But it's way, way more sophisticated now.
Oh, the tech has leaped forward. We are seeing the full maturation of what they call TikTok SEO. It's no longer enough to just put a hashtag in the caption. The algorithm is listening. I mean, literally listening.
Wait, unpack that for a second. When you say listening, you mean it's analyzing the actual audio track of the video?
Yes. Spoken audio keywords are now a major ranking factor. So if you're a brand or a creator, you need to actually say the keywords like best retinol for sensitive skin or Toronto lunch spots out loud in the video's audio.
Wow.
The algorithm transcribes that, it indexes it, and it uses natural language processing to understand the context.
So the 2-second hook at the start of a video, it isn't just about grabbing my visual attention so I don't swipe past. It's about signaling relevance to the machine immediately.
Precisely. It's a dual signal. You're signaling to the human brain, hey, this is interesting. And you're signaling to the algorithm, hey, this is relevant to the search query.
And then you layer geo-targeting on top of that.
Right. And Momentum Digital really emphasizes that for local businesses, this is critical. Tags like hashtag Toronto Eats or hashtag NY Realtor are being prioritized because users are using the platform for this hyper-local discovery.
It's replacing Yelp.
It's effectively replacing Yelp and Google Maps for a really significant demographic because it combines the location data with that visual proof we were just talking about.
And of course, where there's search behavior, ads will follow. We can't escape the ads.
Never. The search ads campaign infrastructure has finally matured on these platforms. So brands can now target what they call high-intent users.
Okay.
This bridges the gap between passive scrolling where you might accidentally see an ad and active searching. If someone actively searches for luxury camping gear, a brand can now place an ad right there in the results.
So it's moving the platform from just driving awareness, which is kind of a fluffy metric,
Very fluffy.
to web conversions.
Meaning actual purchases or signups. It's the final step in legitimizing social video as a full funnel marketing machine. But, and this is the big pivot for this entire deep dive, just because the machine can serve you a perfect ad or an algorithm can recommend a perfect product, does that mean you actually trust it?
That is the million-dollar question, or
Yeah.
I guess the $6.2 billion question. And this brings us to the heaviest and frankly the most surprising document in our stack today.
The academic study.
The Wang, Feng, Wang, and Liu study, published in the Journal of Electronic Commerce Research in 2025.
I love this study because it just takes a sledgehammer to one of our most deeply held beliefs. It tackles that central question of the Web 3.0 era. In a world of total information overload, who do we trust more? An AI algorithm or a human influencer?
Okay, so before we get to the results, let's set the stage. How did they actually test this? Because like you said, we all just assume people buy from people. That's the mantra.
Right. So they set up a really well-controlled experiment mimicking JD.com. And for anyone who doesn't know, JD.com is a massive e-commerce platform in China, very similar to Amazon.
Got it.
They presented participants with products, but they were very, very specific about which products they used.
Right, they used a desk lamp and a bar of chocolate.
A white adjustable desk lamp and a bar of milk chocolate. Now, why those two? It wasn't random at all.
It sounds like my late-night study session snack.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
But in research terms, the lamp is what's called a utilitarian product. You buy it because you need a function. It has specs, lumens, height, adjustability. It's a very logical, needs-based purchase.
And the chocolate is?
The chocolate is a hedonic product. You buy it for pleasure, for the sensory experience. It's an emotional buy.
Okay, so we've got business versus pleasure, logic versus emotion.
Exactly. And so they showed participants recommendations for these products from 3 different sources. an AI recommendation, an influencer recommendation, and then a combined recommendation where both the AI and the influencer suggested the exact same item.
Okay, I'm going to make a guess here. Before I read this study, if you had asked me, I would have put money on the influencer winning.
For sure.
Or definitely the combined one. I mean, two endorsements have to be better than one, right? If the robot says it fits my needs and the cool person says it's cool, I'm buying it.
That would be the intuitive guess. And that is exactly what the researchers probably expected to see, too. But this is where it gets so fascinating. The study found that, generally speaking, the AI recommendations outperformed the influencer recommendations in purchase intention.
The robot won.
The robot won.
That feels, I don't know, it feels so cold. Why? What's the psychology behind that?
Well, to understand the why, we have to unpack two theories they applied in the paper. Something called signaling theory and another called uniqueness theory.
Okay, let's start with signaling theory. What is the robot signaling to my brain that the human isn't?
Okay, so think about what an AI recommendation implies to you as a user on a site like that.
Right.
It implies that the system has analyzed your private data, your browsing history, your past purchases, how long you looked at other items, and it's calculated a match specifically for you. It signals personalization, accuracy, and competence.
It feels tailored, like a bespoke suit. The signal is, I know you, therefore I know you need this.
Exactly. Now, compare that to an influencer recommendation. What's the signal there? I mean, influencers are public figures. Their job is to appeal to a crowd. So their recommendation signals social trends, popularity, and conformity.
Ah, okay. So the AI says, this is for you, and the influencer is effectively saying, everyone has this.
Precisely. And this is where that second idea, uniqueness theory, kicks in. In an era where we are just overwhelmed by mass media and trends, consumers have this deep-seated desire to feel unique. We want to believe our choices are our own, not that we're just following the herd. The study suggests that the AI triggers a sense of self-uniqueness. This was found for me. Influencers, on the other hand, can trigger a fear of social conformity.
That is so counterintuitive. I mean, the whole point of influencer marketing is to make us feel cool and unique, like we're on a secret.
Right.
But you're saying that structurally, in the context of an actual shopping cart, they signal that we're just followers.
In the context of a purchase decision on a big e-commerce platform, yes. The data suggests that if you're buying a functional item like a lamp, you care more about whether it fits your desk and is good for your eyes, which the AI knows, than whether a fashion blogger thinks it's trendy.
Okay, that explains the utilitarian product. I get that. But what about the chocolate? I mean, surely we want a human to tell us if the chocolate tastes good. A robot can't taste chocolate. It doesn't have a mouth.
You would absolutely think so. And the results were a little more nuanced there, for sure. For the hedonic product, the chocolate, the combined recommendation, the one with both AI and the influencer,
Yeah.
it did work better than the influencer alone, but, and this is the real kicker, it was still not significantly better than the AI alone.
The AI is undefeated, even with the chocolate.
Even with the chocolate.
Wow. So let's talk about that combined recommendation for a minute. Why didn't having both just blow the numbers out of the water? Why didn't AI plus human equal double the sales?
This is what the researchers call signal conflict.
Signal conflict. Okay. Yeah.
When you see recommended by AI and recommended by influencer next to the same product, your brain gets two opposing signals at the same time.
Right.
One says, this is unique to you, which is personalization. The other says, this is popular with everyone, which is conformity. And according to the study, those signals can actually cancel each other out. It dilutes the power of the personalization.
That is wild. Like the influencer actually drags down the credibility of the algorithm in that specific context.
It can, yeah. It creates this kind of cognitive dissonance. The consumer thinks, wait, is this really for me, or are you just pushing whatever is popular right now?
But surely there has to be an exception. There must be some group where the combined approach worked really well.
Yes, there was one. The study identifies a very specific personality type they call prevention-focused consumers.
Okay, who are they?
These are people who are generally risk-averse. They're motivated by safety, by responsibility, by a desire to avoid making mistakes.
These are the people who read all the one-star reviews first.
Exactly. That's the perfect description. For these people, especially when they were buying the chocolate, the combined recommendation acted as a kind of double check.
A safety net.
A safety net. The AI says it fits my profile, and the influencer validates that it's a good, popular product. It just reduces the perceived risk of buying a bad bar of chocolate.
So if I'm anxious about wasting my $5, I want all the badges of approval I can get. But if I'm just a standard shopper, I trust the data more.
Correct. And the takeaway for businesses here is massive. It suggests that if you have a sophisticated recommendation algorithm, paying for an influencer endorsement to appear right next to it might actually be a waste of money, or worse, it could be counterproductive.
Unless you're specifically selling pleasure goods to anxious people.
Which sounds like a very specific niche, but I'm sure it exists.
For sure. But, this study was in a controlled environment. It was a static web page. We have to pivot now because the world of commerce isn't just static web pages anymore.
Not at all.
We have to talk about the explosion of live streaming, and specifically, we need to look at the Indonesian market.
Yes, and I'm so glad we have this case study because Indonesia really does feel like a crystal ball for where the rest of the world is going with social commerce.
So this is the study by Santani et al.,
Right.
also from 2025, and it's looking at TikTok Shop in Indonesia.
And the scale is it's hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah, the numbers here are huge. We're talking about a gross merchandise value, a GMV of over 500 trillion Indonesian rupiah.
Which is about 22.6 billion US dollars in 2024 alone. And they achieved that level of growth in just 3 years.
It's phenomenal. And the study coins a term that I think is really essential for us to understand, algorithmic commerce.
Okay, so how does that differ from what we were just talking about with the AI recommendations?
Well, the Wang study was about static one-to-one recommendations. This is about recommendation-driven discovery in a live, interactive environment.
Right.
The Zintani study found a massive correlation in R value of 0.847, for any stats nerds out there, between how often a seller does a live stream and their sales volume.
So the more you stream, the more you sell. I mean, that seems obvious on the surface. But why? If the Wang study just told us we trust AI more than people, why are millions of people flocking to watch humans sell things on live streams?
Because live streaming solves what I'm going to call the texture problem.
The texture problem. I like that.
Think about the chocolate from the last study. The AI can tell you, based on data, you'll probably like this chocolate. But it can't show you the satisfying snap of the bar when you break it. It can't show you the gooey texture of the caramel inside.
Right. In traditional e-commerce, you're blind to the physical reality of the product.
Exactly. The Sincandy study found that 87% of buyers said live demos influenced their decisions because it visualized the product in a way that static photos just couldn't. This is what they call social presence theory.
Social presence theory. So the human in the live stream isn't just a cool kid recommender like in the Wang study. They're a proxy for my own senses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They are a tool. They are your eyes and your hands. And the interactivity is absolutely key. The study showed that a seller answering a viewer's question within 30 seconds increased conversion rates by 34%.
30 seconds. That is a ridiculously tight window.
It's basically instantaneous. It creates what they call real-time trust. If I'm in the chat and I ask, is that material stretchy? The host immediately pulls the fabric and says, yes, look at this, right then and there. My anxiety about the purchase just vanishes.
And that is something an AI, at least right now, struggles to replicate with the same emotional weight.
So if we go back to the Wang study, maybe the reason the combined AI and influencer recommendation failed there was because it was static. It was just two badges on a page.
But in live streaming,
the human adds a layer of data texture, physics, reality that the AI can't provide. The human provides the verification of the physical world.
it's not a signal conflict anymore. It's signal enhancement.
Yes. Perfect. Now, there was one detail in the Indonesia study that I just absolutely loved. The WhatsApp factor.
Ah, yes. This is a brilliant example of cultural adaptation.
So tell us how that works, because usually platforms like TikTok try to keep you inside their walled garden, right?
Right.
They don't want you leaving the app to make a purchase.
Correct. They hate off-platform transactions. But in Indonesia, the cultural preference for direct personal negotiation and communication is so strong that sellers they adapted. The flow is totally unique.
Okay, walk us through it.
You discover the product on TikTok, probably through the algorithm. You watch the live stream to see the product demo. But then to finalize the deal or ask those really specific questions, you move the conversation over to WhatsApp.
It's like the digital version of stepping into the back office of a shop to shake hands on the deal.
That's a great way to put it. It blends the high-tech efficiency of the discovery algorithm with the high-touch intimacy of a one-on-one chat app. It actually resolves that conflict we started with. The AI finds the product for you, the what, but the human connection on WhatsApp closes the sale, the trust.
And it seems to work best for specific categories, right? The study says fashion and beauty are just dominating this space.
Oh, yeah. Fashion had a 23.2% conversion rate in these live streams. Beauty was right behind at 21.8%. And that makes sense. These are high-risk items in terms of fit, color, preference. You need that live validation.
Whereas something like electronics was lower.
Which lower? Which, again, aligns back to the Wang study. For utilitarian things, maybe we just trust the specs and the AI. I don't need to watch someone hold a hard drive for an hour to know if it's going to work.
Okay, so we've covered the tech and the behavior shift with search. We've got the academic conflict between AI and humans. We have the live streaming boom. Now let's look at the culture itself. We need to talk about the vibe shift.
Right. And for that, we have the TikTok Next 2026 Trend Report.
This report is so interesting because it gives us the vocabulary for what we're all kind of feeling. The big overarching theme they identify is irreplaceable instinct.
Which implies that despite all this AI, despite the Wang study telling us we trust robots, there's still something deeply human that we can't or won't automate away.
Exactly. The report argues we're moving away from that autopilot doom scroll and toward more intentionality. And the first big trend they identify is reality.
Reality. R-E-L-I-T-E-A.
I know, the pun is a little cheesy, but the concept behind it is really strong. It's basically the death of the hashtag Delulu trend, right?
It is, and thank goodness for that. For a few years there, we had this delusional trend total escapism, pretending to be the main character in some fantasy life. That is fading fast. People want grounding. They want reality.
The key words they highlight here are really interesting. There's hashtag hygiene, not just, brushing your teeth, but self-care as a form of luxury maintenance. And hashtag locked in, I see this one everywhere now. It's about publicly committing to your goals, showing the work.
It's the anti-curation movement. It's about showing the messy process, not just the perfect result. And the brand example they use for this, Knorr, the Bouillon Cube company, is just perfect.
I honestly never thought I'd be talking about Bouillon Cubes on a deep dive about the future of commerce.
I know, right? But listen to this strategy. They positioned the act of cooking, using their product, of course, as a modern green flag in dating.
A green flag. I like that.
Yes. In a world of superficial dating apps and, AI-generated pickup lines, being able to actually cook a meal for someone is a powerful sign of stability and reality. Their campaign got 17 million views.
And it worked because it wasn't a polished fake ad with perfect actors in a perfect kitchen.
No, it was messy, it was real cooking. It tapped directly into that deep cultural desire for reality.
It feels like we're seeing a return to, tangible value. Like, can you actually do something useful?
Absolutely. Which connects directly to the second trend they identify, curiosity detours.
This one I love because it basically validates my entire browsing history.
It validates all of us. The idea is that the consumer journey is completely nonlinear now. You start searching for one thing and you end up somewhere totally different, but that's where the magic happens.
The example they gave was Duracell. And this is hands down my favorite story from this entire stack of research.
The K-pop connection.
The K-pop connection. So Duracell, the battery company, found out that K-pop stans, the really hardcore fans, were searching for batteries online. Why?
For their light sticks. If you go to a K-pop concert, you have a specific branded light stick for the group you're seeing. It needs power. And you absolutely do not want that light stick dying in the middle of a big song.
That is a legitimate tragedy. That would be social suicide in that community.
It is a major crisis. So Duracell leaned into this super niche community. They didn't try to sell long-lasting power in some generic, boring way. They sold, don't let your light stick die at the concert.
And the result was?
A 483% growth in their followers.
Wow.
Just by leaning into a community that, on the surface, you would think has absolutely nothing to do with batteries.
It shows that in 2026, you don't cast a wide net. You find the curiosity detour, and you just wait at the end of it with exactly what that niche community needs. It's all about specificity.
For sure. And that leads us right into the final trend they talk about, emotional ROI.
This feels like the economic reality check of the bunch. The whole little treat mindset, buying an $8 coffee just to feel something, that seems to be fading.
It is. Shoppers now want to justify the why to buy. They need a return on their emotional investment, not just their financial one.
The report calls it the evidence economy.
Right. We are now using platforms like TikTok as a verification hub. Before I buy that new couch, I'm not just looking at the pretty photo on the company's website. I'm searching TikTok for Ashley's sofa reel review. I'm going straight to the comment section. I want evidence from real people.
And the Ashley Canada example for this was huge.
They used something called Smart Plus campaigns specifically to facilitate these considered purchases, big ticket items. And by doing that, they saw a 533% higher add to cart rate.
533%. That's not a typo.
Not a typo. Because they weren't just selling, they were providing the evidence the consumer needed to feel confident. They moved away from, buy this because it's pretty, to here is the evidence that this will fit your life and is a good investment.
Okay. So let's try to synthesize all of this. We've got a lot of moving parts here. We've got robots winning the trust game in a lab. We've got humans winning the trust game on live streams. And we have a culture that is screaming for reality.
We do, but I think a pretty clear picture is starting to emerge. We've moved from the Wild West of viral hits to a much more sophisticated ecosystem that the Centani study rightly calls algorithmic commerce.
And that conflict we started with, robot versus human, it seems like it's not a winner-take-all battle. It's more like a division of labor.
Precisely. If we look at the Wang study, it shows we trust the precision of the AI for the what. Does this lamp fit my functional needs? Does this data suggest I will like this product? The AI acts as the ultimate filter, the signaling mechanism for uniqueness and accuracy.
But then the Indonesia study and the trend report show that we still need the humanity for the why.
Correct. The AI can tell me which foundation scientifically matches my skin tone, but I need to watch the live stream or apply it to see the texture and finish, so I trust it. I need the K-pop community to tell me which battery is reliable enough for the concert. I need the reality of the comment section to verify the big purchase.
So the AI is the head and the human is the heart.
Or maybe a better way to put it is the AI is the gatekeeper and the human is the closer. The AI gets the right product in front of you better and faster than any human curator ever could, but it's that irreplaceable instinct, that human connection, that gives you the final confidence to actually part with your money.
And that actually explains the combined paradox from the Wang study too. When the AI and the influencer are presented as equals on the page, recommendation versus recommendation, they conflict. They fight for dominance.
Right, the signal conflict.
But when they're presented as a sequence, the AI finds it for you, and then the human verifies it for you. That's the magic formula.
That is the winning formula for social commerce in 2026.
So for our listeners, if you're the learner just trying to navigate this new world, what's the big takeaway?
I'd say be aware that your instinct is being shaped. When you get that little spark of, oh, this is perfect for me, realize that a very sophisticated algorithm likely signaled that feeling of uniqueness directly to you. It's okay to embrace it, but just know where it comes from.
Right.
And don't be afraid to do your own curiosity detour to verify it. Don't just trust the signal. Go look for the texture.
And for the business mind listening to this,
yeah,
the marketer, the brand owner,
I think the message is clear. The future isn't just about throwing money at the biggest influencers. It's about finding true tastemakers who prioritize honesty and evidence. It's about locking in on those niche communities, like the Duracell K-pop example.
Yeah.
Don't try to be everything to everyone. Be the essential power source for a very specific group of K-pop fans. That's more valuable.
And stop assuming that just putting an influencer's face next to a product automatically boosts sales, because the data says otherwise.
The data says that might actually hurt you if you aren't careful. You have to respect the intelligence of your consumer. They are looking for evidence, not just hype.
I want to leave us with a final provocative thought here.
Okay.
We talked about how the AI won the trust game for the product matching. If AI recommendations are statistically more effective than human influencers at driving our actual purchase intention, are we approaching a future where human influence becomes purely entertainment?
That is the scary question, isn't it?
Like, do we just watch the influencers for the drama and the tea, but when it comes time to actually shop, we just turn that over to the machines?
Yeah.
Are we moving toward a world where the act of shopping is entirely automated by an AI who knows us better than we know ourselves?
It's possible. I mean, we might reach a point where shopping as an active pursuit disappears and it's just replaced by fulfillment by our personal AI. But I keep going back to that theme from the trend report. Irreplaceable instinct. There is a joy in the discovery, in the texture, in the shared experience of seeing the Nor green flag or laughing in a live stream chat, I think. I think we will always pay a premium for that connection.
I hope so. Because I don't want to live in a world where I can't ask a total stranger on the internet if a sweater is itchy before I buy it.
And I don't want to live in a world where I can't watch someone cook with bouillon cubes in real time.
Exactly. Well, that is our deep dive for today. We hope this helps you navigate the evidence economy a little bit better.
And go explore a curiosity detour this week. See where it takes you.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you in the next one.